Like a rare case of black fungus going directly to the brain was reported from Bengaluru, and given the symptoms, it was at first considered to be the relatively more common post-COVID stroke. Fortunately, the woman patient was successfully treated. Maya Sharma has more.
Black fungus or mucormycosis has been causing concern in the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, and there are hundreds of cases being reported from Karnataka, but it sometimes shows very surprising variations. Joining us, Dr. Sharan Srinivasan, a neurosurgeon of the Bhagwan Mahivir Jain Hospital here in Bengaluru, and his colleague Dr. Sridhara, a neurologist. They came across a very unusual case recently. Now, Dr. Sridhara, a woman patient came in after recovering from COVID. Based on initial symptoms, did you think this was a stroke at first? What did you see?
Yeah, so we had one patient, 48-year-old female. She was having mild COVID symptoms like sore throat. She was admitted in local COVID care center for around 8 days. She was treated with simple medications, and she was not on any steroids or any supplemental oxygen. Patient was discharged. After discharging, patient developed acute onset right upper limb and lower limb weakness with speech difficulty. So with the outside CT scan, she came to our hospital. When we examined the patient was having classical symptoms of stroke like right upper limb weakness, right lower limb weakness and speech difficulty. Outside CT scan was also showing small hypodensity in thalamus. We call it as, it is features for suggestive of stroke. So nowadays, post-COVID, many patients after recovering from COVID, many patients are having ischemic strokes. We thought of stroke. As a detailed evaluation, we did MRI brain. For our surprise, it was not looking like a classical stroke. So there was a doubt regarding whether it is a tumor or abscess. So it was a region of thalamus area inside the brain. So because it was not like a classical stroke findings in MRI, we requested our we discussed with our radiologist also, and they also opined like it is more looking like a tumor or abscess. So it was a very deep-seated lesion. We requested our neurosurgery team to take stereotactic biopsy because histopathology is very important in these patients, whether to diagnose whether it is a tumor or whether it is an infection, any abscess, a tubercular abscess or any. And nowadays fungal infection is also very common, as you told it, mucormycosis is also common. But in this patient, there was no involvement of sinuses. Usually brain involvement is secondary to involvement of the sinus and orbit, and then they spread to the brain. It is the most common presentation, whatever we are seeing. Invasive cerebral mucormycosis, what we call. Usually we see more commonly after sinus infection or orbital infection. Here that mucormycosis doubt was not that much in high priority. We thought of tubercular tumor possibilities more. So we requested our neurosurgery team for stereotactic biopsy, and Dr. Sharan will tell regarding that thing.
Yes, Dr. Sharan Srinivasan, the usual signs of black mucus were not there. How did you reach that diagnosis? Was it after you went into the surgery? How did that happen that you figured out it was black fungus actually?
So actually, like he said, there was no mucor in the sinus, there was no mucor in the eyes. And when he referred the patient to us, the question was really, should we biopsy? How do we reach this lesion? Because it is very deep inside the brain. So the stereotactic MRI guided stereotactic procedure was the procedure of choice that we decided. Patient was quite restless, and because of which we had to delay surgery by a day. And then what happened was, we had to fix a special frame to the head, like we did for the guitar surgery in the past. We had to put 2 screws on the front, 2 screws on the back into her skull, take her for a special MRI. And then these are the MRI images. If you can see at the back of me, you can see these are the 3 different images of the brain. This is the axial section, this is the coronal section, and this is the sagittal section. And this is the abscess, very deep inside the brain. This is the brain view that we are seeing from the front. This is the top of the skull, this is the bottom of the brain. And we have to go all the way inside here. This is a journey which is at least 10.5 centimeters inside her brain. So now we have to go through all those nerves to reach that place, and it's very critical location. So without this concept of MRI guided stereotactic procedure, it's impossible to reach this area. And once we reached that area, we thought, like Dr. Sridhara said, either it's a tumor or it's possibly a pus. We really did not think of mucor as the first line of diagnosis at all because she had no other features of that. So when I went in and actually hit the abscess and aspirated with the syringe, there was pus that came out with a little bit of blood stained, combination of that. About 3-4 cc of it came out. That's all the size of it. It looks quite big here, but that was the size. And then I came out and I thought, okay, this is pus like how we discussed, maybe TB, or it could be some other pus. So we sent it for the biopsy and the histopathology and the microbiology. I'm telling you very honestly that we did not think of mucor to the extent that I did not even ask for mucor in my tests. This was clearly just pyogenic abscess, or it's possibly TB. It was thanks to our senior microbiologist, Dr. Geeta Bhatt. When she was peering under the microscope and she looked at it, she said, "Ooh, this looks like mucor and not like TB." And that's what happened. And then she called me and said, "Dr. Sharan, are you suspecting mucor in this case?" I said, "Madam, honestly, no." And then she said, hold on, let me recheck what is happening. So she took a little more time to go through the whole process. Then she said we had some necrotic tissue also. She said, let me actually send it also for culture. And we actually grew mucor on the culture. The culture showed us classic mucormycosis and everything else was negative.
And the woman patient, she was not diabetic, she was not on a ventilator, she was not given steroids, the usual things that you would look out for.
Yes, she was not on any of those classical risk factors that we would say. To be an immunocompromised, she should have been either a diabetic or been on steroids either before the treatment itself or during the course of treatment of COVID, which was not true. She was not on ventilator during the course of our treatment also. She was classically an unclassical case or a rare case of this.
And she is doing well now. That is good to know that the patient is recovering well now.
Immediately after the surgery itself, even before we could lay our hands on the amphotericin, you know how difficult amphotericin B is, liposomal especially. Thanks to the surgery itself, her weakness improved, her speech improved, and she has 2 small children, young teenage children who are very anxious about this, and they were extremely happy to see that the mother started talking to them, and it sort of got much more brighter after surgery.
What advice would you give based on your learnings from this case, doctor?
Learning from this case is, so when our patient present with this kind of symptoms, so one of the possibility we have to keep is invasive mucormycosis. Even though sinus involvement is not there, orbital involvement is not there, but MRI suggests of any abscess. One of the differential diagnosis we have to keep here is fungal abscess. This is one thing. Second thing is, in untreated invasive fungal infection of the brain, the mortality rate is more than 80%. So timely intervention and timely starting antifungal medications many times will help in the recovery of the patients. So early treatment and early interventions will help in recovery of the patients. And eye suspicion is important nowadays in post-COVID patients. Not essentially they should be on steroids or they should be diabetic or any history of any risk factor should be there. Many like these patients, some patient may come like this very rarely without any of those risk factors for mucormycosis. Still they can harbor the fungus inside the brain. So early suspicion is very important in these kind of patients.
So I want to add to this. See, one of the most important things in medicine is 1 + 1 is never 2. So, it's very important to have a high level of suspicion. Clinical suspicion for me, honestly, was the key to the actual outcomes that we did at the end of the day. The truth is, reality is, if Dr. Sridhara and team had not thought that it was not a classical infarct and they said this is not a classical stroke, we need to think beyond this. And they did a contrast MRI. If the contrast MRI is never done as a part of normal MRI stroke protocol, so that was the extra test they did to pick it up. Then they had a discussion and said, this doesn't look okay. So the clinical suspicion is the key and most important thing. And then they chased down the diagnosis and they pushed people like us to say, I need tissue diagnosis. Now we know, all of us know that that location in the brain is very critical, very deep-seated. It's not usual for everybody to be able to get in without causing harm to the brain or to the patient. So unless we are all convinced that we have to do a high risk procedure like this because the justification of not doing is worse than justification of doing, then we have to all take a collective decision to go ahead and do this. So the take home message is every patient who comes with a stroke like feature after COVID, it may not be a stroke at all. So it may be something beyond a stroke, and we have to be very, very responsible to make sure we overdiagnose, overthink, and make sure we do it right, because statistically, like you keep saying 1%, 0.5% and everything else, for us it may be a rare case 0.05%, but for that family it's 100% if the patient does not survive, and that is the most important thing for us to give as a take-home message from this case.
Dr. Sharan Srinivasan, Dr. Sridhara, thank you so much. The need for clinical suspicion, this very rare type of black fungus case, doctors should not assume it's always a stroke post-COVID. It could be something else indeed. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing this unusual case, and glad to hear that she is doing well. Thank you.